Welcome to OOO, an out of ordinary podcast where we dig deep into case studies and the nitty gritty of Web3 marketing. You'll find here all the amazing people that are building Web3, so stick to us as we address their marketing secrets and learn how to build amazing products and brands. Hello everyone, I'm Alex, your fellow Web3 marketer and the host of Out of Ordinary podcast. This is episode 58. If you don't already know, I'm launching a community for all you Web3 marketers. The reason for that is that I know resources are scarce and I think together we can push the pedal. I've recently partnered up as well with Eden, an AI tool designed to get the best out of your CV and help you land a job in Web3. We also made a special sign-up link for this OOO community so we can tailor the best experience for you. If you want to sign up, link in the description as always. Another exciting thing is that I haven't mentioned an episode in a while, but now we have a special campaign with Brahma. Collect the episode, deploy a console, and get ready to accelerate on-chain. You will receive 100 karma points on your console actions towards the end of the phase of the Brahma rewards. Link in the description. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to my guest. Kaku has a strong track record of driving growth across various sectors. He led the growth for Iflix, which was later acquired by Tencent. In 2017, he and his team launched a fintech app focused on Bitcoin and credit cards. By 2019, they built a crypto fund for institutions, scaling it to $100 million. In 2020, they turned their focus to DeFi, founding BrahmaFi to tackle execution and UX challenges in DeFi. Hello, Kaku, and welcome to the Out of Ordinary podcast. How are you today?
Hi, Alex. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
I'm really happy to have you here. And to kind of kick off the conversation, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into Web3?
Sure. I'm one of the founders at BrahmaFi. We are building the universal account for crypto. By that, I mean, like right now you have EOAs that you interact with, MetaMask, phantom wallets. When you interact on chain, we build a smart account which makes your journey in crypto more delightful, more powerful for everyone. I lead the product here, and before this I've always been in crypto. Before this, the same team was running a centralized crypto fund out of Switzerland. We were managing institution capital and basically running strategies on centralized exchanges. Around 2019, 2020, when the DeFi summer happened, Uniswap, Sushi, all that era, we thought of coming to DeFi rails and we started building Brahma. Before this, Brahma was doing structured products on crypto. So we were doing products like principal protected notes. We were deeply integrated with multiple DeFi protocols like Curve, Lyra, and we were building like vaults where a user can come in and interact with multiple protocols through one vault. And we ran that for a year, figured that the whole DeFi and the infra layer was broken and a vault is not the best approach to interact with DeFi in general. And that's when we started building Brahma as you see it now. Our product console manages at the time of recording more than 100 million in capital for institutions, power users, protocols, and retail, where they interact with multiple chains with the same address, with powerful automations, powerful way to interact, more transparent way to interact on chain. So yeah, started in crypto around 2017 out of college, started building the fund in 2018, 2019, ran that for a year, and since then in Brahma.
I wanted to ask you something because I think you touched on it, and I think it's a very important question. Like, what was the pivotal moment that led to a shift in your product strategy at Brahma, and how did this impact your marketing approach?
So when we started, there were a lot of DeFi products coming up during the DeFi summer in 2020, 2021. And that's when we started building out like our base and core product, which was the vault. And we thought like the best way to interact on DeFi, because it's very complicated, is through a vault. And building a vault requires a lot of capital, a lot of marketing, and a lot of upkeep, which becomes unsustainable over a period of time. So I'll give you an example. So our first vault was built on top of Curve, Convex. We were bridging seamlessly from Ethereum mainnet to Optimism, and then doing a trade on Lyra. So it was basically put your amount in Curve pools, farm like Curve rewards. The rewards that you get, you take them, you bridge that to Optimism, and buy out of the money calls. In that trade, what we were doing essentially was never putting like the principal at risk, but always when the interest accrued over a period of 1 week, we would buy out of the money calls and put options. And depending on the algorithm, we would try to increase the APY on the user's capital. But what happened there was the amount needed to sustain a vault was too high, because every time we create a new vault, we had to get an audit done. And that's when we realized that there has to be a better way to interact with like on-chain protocols. And that's when we started experimenting with the console as you see now. So because every DAO, every power user was using safe smart contract wallet, I'm not very sure that the listeners of the podcast will know Safe, but Safe is the most used smart contract wallet. They hold over $100 billion in EVM controlled chains. And what it was being used for was just companies like us holding treasury there. But you can do much more with a smart contract wallet, and that's what we started diving into. That cut down our costs in terms of building the product, because we were inheriting the security from Safe smart contract, and marketing became much more easier because it's not very dependent on one product and one product launch, because one product launch in crypto takes around 3 to 4 months. Now we can like push out more products, more vault-like structures in matter of days versus matter of months. So that essentially changed our view, and that's why we kind of moved away from building vaults to interact with DeFi, but making like a more open way to interact with DeFi. Our goal remains the same, but we just found out a better way to interact with DeFi.
My question here was actually regarding like why are guys pushing the narrative, but this narrative with like smart contract, with integrated smart contracts. But my guess, based on what you told me, is that it's a lot easier right now. But I'm also like wondering, like, how does the market respond to it, and how do you see it all moving forward?
So for me, there are like two kinds of products which do a lot of hype, and let's say they go via Quest platform like Galaxy or Layer 3 to hype up their numbers, right? So you see a lot of chatter on Twitter about those products. That's one kind of marketing which is required. Now, second, what we were focused on was basically product-led marketing, where we started off building the product, taking inputs from the users itself. That is, our first goal was the power users and institutions, because those were the only ones left when we started building, because it was the bear market of 2022. Now, we figured that we'll just start with those actual users and then build backwards. So that's what we started doing. So now when we are actually going live with incentives and like pushing Brahma Console as a brand, we already have 100 million plus in TVL. We have done 500 million, or I guess I have to check, but now around 700 million in volume through console stack. We have done around 2 million in transactions, which is over a period of 4 months now when we started opening up the platform. So specifically, we did product-led growth. We focused on power users, institutions, and funds which were present. And then we moved towards retail users, which was actually through Blast. When Blast came out, We were one of the winners of Blast competition, the Blast Gold competition. So we had a lot of retail push from there. So we started optimizing for retail once Blast was out. So that's how we got into marketing, but we never pushed out legit like quests marketing in that sense. So it was more towards like power users, like our focus.
What is a power user for you?
So to give you an example, an average user of console holds $25,000 in their console. So that's what I call a power user. So they do on-chain interactions daily. They have double to triple digit $1,000 in console, and they interact. So they are okay using on-chain. They don't usually go to, let's say, centralized exchanges to trade, but their main aspect of trading is on-chain. So that's what we are focusing on, and that's what our power user is.
Okay. Can you maybe tell us a bit about like some prior marketing initiatives that you've done? And which community building tactics have you found to be most effective for growing Brahma? And this was actually one of the questions that I got from my community on Twitter, because everybody's always like big on community building, and they always want to know like what are some initiatives that have been used and have been proven to be successful.
Sure. So this is around when we started the vaults. We started 2 years ago. We started pushing this thing called karma. So karma was basically your on-chain reputation and points. And whenever you did a transaction on your EOA, we used to check what kind of transactions the user did. And depending on the transaction, we either gave him positive karma or we subtracted it. To give you an example, if you were farming and like supplying liquidity to a protocol, you would get a positive karma, a positive point. But once you withdrew or once you dumped someone's governance coins, you would have negative karma. And the holding period will determine how much karma you're getting. So we did that, and we had around 15,000 users. This is 2 years ago, before the points actually started. And we had a lot of growth in our vaults with that. Now what we are specifically focusing on, as I said, our users are around 5,000, and these 5,000 users make around 100 million in TVL, and an average user is 25K. So it's more direct marketing. So we use like DBank, we use direct chats from DBank to reach out to certain profiles. We partner with chains to get out of there, to show like what Brahma is doing. To give you an example, we partnered with Mode as a base layer for interaction on Mode. Right now you'll see we just went live with Scroll. So we are like the base smart contract wallet on Scroll to interact with Scroll protocols. So this way, like the chains who are getting hype and getting users actually help us like market like console itself to their users. Now, by doing this, what happens is we really cut down the marketing costs, and we really focus on like legit users who are using these protocols. To give you an example, Blast, when it launched, we had most of the DAOs building on Blast to use console and do transactions on console and use our stack to do automations. So we got like users through partnering with chains. Similarly, what we are doing is with Scroll, and what you'll see is like Swell. They are doing a pre-deposit for their L2. So users who have deposited on Swell L2 will be eligible to get Brahma retrospective points or airdrops. So we are closely partnering with each and every chain, because we are like the best way to interact with any chain in terms of the UX, the UI, bridging experience, swapping experience, and it's the most secure way to interact as well, because the underlying contracts are already managing $100 billion, and that's the most battle tested contract. So that's our pitch with these chains.
How big is your marketing team? Because I also know that and like what's their way of working, and I'm asking this because I also know you're hiring right now.
Sure. So we never like had a marketing team get go. We've never pushed marketing because we were always finding the product market fit. because what you kind of see mostly in marketing, that you have like hype and then it kind of fizzles off and then there's a dip, there's no mention. So first
But
we
isn't this
want,
like what most founders want in
uh,
Web3 specifically?
so it really depends on the type of founder. Now we are building since like 2 3 years now, and what we were laser focused on was to get an actual product out, an actual usage, which so we were just chasing product market fit. Now it didn't work with the Vault product because when we launched the Vault, there was no market for it, and then we kind of realized, okay, we are solving the right problem, but the medium is a wrong medium, and then we kind of focused on like how can we make it easier for actual users. If ever another bear market comes, these users will be active. So that was our approach. It was like do or die. So we kind of stuck with like finding product market fit. So we never had like a proper marketing team in house. Still we don't. So I do product and part marketing. So you would see now just me tweeting, trying to interact with users because that is the most important part. What we also figured was product is okay, but you have a product and no marketing team, you kind of fizzle off as well. So right now we are hiring like a senior person who can lead like marketing because it's just me right now. And as much as I can try, okay, founders are the best marketers, but I still need like guidance from like a seasoned marketer. So that's what we're looking for. Setting, and we have like two people specifically in marketing right now who curate like the tweets, the blogs, the narratives, and what you'll see in coming weeks is Accelerate on Chain campaign that we are kickstarting, which will focus on accelerating the usage of on-chain products, usage of on-chain protocols through console, and we have partnered with multiple protocols right now, which will enable, which will just showcase how easy it is to use console and like trade on console versus let's say Binance. We give you comparable like user experience, speed and security. I think better security than Binance, right? Because it's all on chain. And to give you a perspective that if we as a company don't exist tomorrow, you still have like your funds with you because it's all open source and you have multiple front end for Brahma. So what we are focusing on, like Accelerate on Chain, is why is it better? And our lean team of 3 people in marketing, including me, is pushing that. So right now, if you see console and Brahma branding, and if you go on the page, you check out the blogs. It's very, how do I say? It's very anti Web3 or anti crypto, but it's very serious. And if you go inside, it's very Apple like product branding, and the words that we chose is very specific to like an enterprise software company. Now we're changing that. We're changing
Yeah,
that
I was about to ask like why is it like anti Web3 or like
because
because it's like more enterprise focused?
our first users were enterprise focused, because there were no users like 1.5 2 years ago, because everything just vanished after FTX. The only people alive in the market were more institutional and let's say more sophisticated people. So we could not do like meme branding or a lot of memes and a lot of like casual branding because we are a serious product first. Now we have to change the perspective just to connect with the crypto audience, and that's what we are focused on now. And you'll see a shift there.
So first, I want to ask you, like, what else can you tell us about this Accelerate on Chain campaign? I know you're integrated with with Base recently, which I think is pretty awesome. Big fan there. I wanted to see like if you, what can you tell us more about it? Like what kind of what other chains are you integrating with? Like what's the entire purpose of it? Like break it down a bit for us.
Sure. So accelerate on chain basic motto is like accelerate like the usage of on chain. Right now, if you see like on chain protocols are all fragmented, right? You have multiple wallets, you have to bridge, you have to deposit, you have to withdraw, and you go to DBank and you see like multiple chains multiple portfolios, your money like scattered around. So it's all fragmented. Now, in order to actually accelerate and like come on par with centralized, let's say use like centralized crypto products, you need to like unclutter this mess which has been created with hundreds of chains, right? Now, I don't know how many chains will survive, but I want to make sure that if a user is using any on-chain protocol, they should be able to use it like in a very easy manner. And that's what we are doing. So if you see console right now, we're live on 7 chains, 7 major chains. Scroll, we went live last week. So it's very easy for you to create a console account, deposit money, and then interact with any protocol on that specific chain. Then you can also bridge from inside your console. So once you bridge, you know that you're sending to your console on another chain, right? So the chances of like, let's say doing an error is extremely low there. So we are trying to make like, first give the safety net, and we provide that safety net of like safe smart contract wallet. On top of that, you have like, I guess the best experience in like crypto product that you can use, and the most powerful way to interact with any protocol. So if you are like a developer, you can use like our APIs. You can use like the transaction builder. If you're a retail, you can like actually like if you use Apple Pay or any kind of like payment app, it's that easy. It's understandable. You know what you're doing. So that way, like we are getting like the security and UX on par. That was the first step. Now, when I talk about accelerate on-chain campaign, we are focused on like educating more users about smart contract wallet, and that's what let's say Base did, Coinbase smart contract wallet. They actually helped a lot in education about smart contract wallets and moving away from like EOAs. So that's like the first part of the campaign, where we will educate user on creating a console, depositing money, and like sending money around. So that's one. Second part is actually we have partnered with multiple protocols. So you have chains, you have DeFi dApps, you have infrastructure protocols. So if you use these protocols through console, you will be rewarded with console karma points. We are getting karma points back, and what will happen here is you'll have your on-chain reputation on how you use our product on-chain and your EOA, which is connected to console on-chain. So we'll be giving you, let's say, a score where a user can see how they compete with the other players on-chain transactions. Now, as I explained like 5-10 minutes ago about karma, here you'll be interacting with multiple protocols, multiple chains. You'll be supplying liquidity. You'll be selling some governance tokens when you farm. So any interaction on chain is kind of given a point, and it will fluctuate based on your daily and weekly performance. So let's say you, Alex, you create a console today and you deposit X amount of dollars and you get like 100 karma. Now, unlike other protocols where you just deposit and forget and your points keep on compounding, here we actually see how you use the product. So if you're an active user, you're using the product normally, your karma points will deviate. So it will either go up by a lot, or tomorrow once you log in, it will go down like negative based on what you do. So this is what we're introducing with Accelerate on-chain campaign. Here the focus is to drive more actual transactions and we also limit like spam transactions. So if you're doing wash trading, fake transactions, you get penalized. The point here is this way we'll graduate a user from a beginner to a power user, where we'll take him from like a very basic features to very advanced features. So once a user comes in on console, Accelerate, he'll be doing normal transactions like swap, lend, send, create a console, and we aim to bring that user to a level where they are opening up an automation, they create a sub account, they add their friends to their sub account, add policies. So they will become like pro users on chain. So that's like the task. So if you become like a pro user, your karma points will obviously go up, right? So that's like the major campaign here for retail users. But at the same time, DAOs who adopt us and import their safe, they get specific rewards, which are Brahma future rewards that we launch. So if you're a DAO and if you move in like your, let's say, safe wallet, which is most projects who have their funds on chain, they use safe. If they import that and bring that under console, they'll be eligible to Brahma rewards. And the third type of user here is the developers who are using and building on console stack, which is like building APIs, building like any dApp possible on chain using console stack. So to touch upon that, right now, if you're a developer, you can use our APIs and build like a auto rebalancing vault on top of Morpho, where you don't have to take custody. You just have to write the app logic, and everything is handled by the console stack, which is execution, the custody managed by safe, the policy, every execution logic, everything is handled by us, and the developer is just doing that. So now if a developer builds an app on that, he'll be eligible for a console like drop. And if we are partnering with, let's say, protocols like Bebop, Odos, GMX, the users who use these protocols will be eligible for drops from respective protocols as well, but they'll also get like boosted console rewards if they use our partner protocols through console. So that is like the focus of Accelerate on Chain, where we will take a normal user from being a very, very basic user to from a novice to a pro user on chain. So that's what we are focusing on. It will run for few weeks, and then we, depending on how much volume we can generate and how much distribution we can get, we'll move on to like an actual Brahma token reward. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned like a bunch of stuff that I wanted to ask you about. So like, let's try to look back a bit. First of all, like I want to ask you about your referral program. You didn't mention that, but like from what I know, you already have one, right?
So we haven't launched it. We'll be launching it along with the Accelerate on Chain, which will be in few days, where every user who refers like any other user, they'll be eligible to get like karma based on, like, let's say you, Alex, I give you like a referral link, and you tweet your referral link, and like people join using your referral link. Now, what usually happens is, let's say in terms of exchanges, you get a cut of the transaction fee that is paid by your user, correct? In like normal centralized exchange. Here we are not charging anyone to use like console to just onboard and like secure their assets on console. So that's not what we're charging on. But let's say you get 100 users, and your 100 users referred by you bring, let's say, 10 million in capital. So what you'll see on your dashboard is you helped secure around $10 million, and the karma and the points that they earn on that, you'll get a share of that. So if 10 million US dollars worth are being directly linked to your referral, you'll be getting like rewards on that, which is in karma points.
So first of all, I wanted to ask you like about this referral program, like how does it integrate with your overall marketing strategy, and like what results do you expect to see?
So most of the referral programs that you see right now, let's take example of protocols like Athena, which give you 10% of sats earned by your referred users, right? What you see is like most of the KOLs and influencers, they kind of start embedding that link on their Telegram channels or their emails or Twitter posts. It's a way for them to earn like referral fee from these protocols. Now, legally speaking, we in crypto you cannot give a share of revenue because there's a lot of ambiguity around. So what you essentially do is like if you're doing like a token program or a points program, you give a cut of your points, and that means that they'll be eligible for like token drops in the future. And if a protocol works and if they're early enough, you can essentially get a lot of gains versus simply like embedding like a link from a centralized exchange. So what you learn from the centralized exchange is like these huge KOLs, they share those centralized exchange like referral codes, and they earn like 5, 6, 10 grands. On the peak of bull market, they are earning like hundreds and thousands of dollars because they have referred a lot of users. Now, this is more cyclical, and if a product is good and if it has actual usage, only then it makes sense to get your referral like codes, and that's what we are focused on. Because if our average user has $25,000 and if he's doing a transaction, let's say an average user does 100K worth of transactions a month, right? He's generating a lot of volume and lot of fee for partner protocols, lot of fee for us in terms of the type of transaction they're doing. So later on, you'll be seeing like a lot of affiliate fee, which we earn from like partner protocols being passed to the people who referred. So in turn of giving our revenue, we are giving like affiliate fee from other protocols because Brahma is an open wallet. So that's where we see like the referral code being used for us. For other protocols, it's always focused on like getting more, it's more MLM, right? Where a staking protocol can give their referral like link. A user might come in and he'll bring more users and they'll get X amount of points boosted. Now we are not doing boosted points because that's a lot of ambiguity. We are basing it on amount that, let's say, Alex, you secured. So if you secured 10 million worth of assets, you'll get the drop right now. But in the future, all these like consoles linked to your wallet will end up giving you like affiliate fee in the future from other protocols, because most of the protocols are integrating with console and we are driving a lot of volume for them.
Yeah, I think the question was mostly on like how does it fall into your like overall or like bigger marketing picture. But I think I can see that, and if I understand correctly, you try to capitalize on the moment where the market right now, right? Because if it was a bear market, probably it wouldn't have the potential to be as big as it has right now, or like it's expected to see in the near future.
See, to be honest, we don't know like how the referral will work out and how does that work out. So we'll kind of know like next week when we start. We are beginning with the referral to begin with, and later on we'll introduce the points. But first is referral. I have no data on how like Athena or other protocols have actually worked with referral. I guess it's like top 10% of the users get the most audience and they get the most flow of referral, like a normal Web2 product, because you have more audience. But we'll kind of find out when we launch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I do know a lot of projects that have used like referral links. I work with Bybit, and like this is one of their biggest marketing strategies. At least talk on the BD side, but obviously that's what brings the most money, let's say. Something else I wanted to ask you is like, can you maybe give us because you mentioned about the token launch and rewards and in your token and so on. Like, can you give us a sneak peek into Brahma's token launch and how does it fit into your overall marketing and like post campaign strategy?
So I cannot give you like a lot of details because it's still under legal review, because we handle a lot of institutional capital as well. So that will kind of evolve later on. But token.
I'm asking mostly like from a marketing standpoint, because obviously the legal side of things can stay confidential for now.
Yeah. So from marketing point of view, like especially like retail users, right? They would rally around a product which has upcoming token versus a product without token and a product which was launched 2 years ago with a token. They have totally different momentum. I'll give you an example. So there's a really good uh, power like tool for DeFi called DeFi Saver, right? I think everyone has heard of it. They have been running since 2018, I'm guessing, and they have no tokens, but they handle $1 to $2 billion in the TVL, and they are a very profitable company. Now, do they need a token? No, because they are bootstrapped. They are revenue generating, right? And they actually don't require marketing, because if you become a power user, you don't really care about the marketing. Now, on this was one, and in the similar like range, there is Instadap, which is similar to DeFi Saver when it launched, and they have a token, but it didn't work because they were not able to like distribute the token properly. So if you see their market cap, it's around 100 million, and they don't have a lot of, let's say, retail followers, but they still have a lot of power users. Now, DeFi Saver didn't have a token, but they earn revenue. Instadap doesn't earn revenue because it's a free product, and they have a token, but I would say they kind of failed to like do their token properly. So token is a very uh, delicate thing when you launch. So either you launch it as a governance token, or you kind of game it and you make it like a work token, right? Uh, that's where we are right now. We want to make sure that our actual users are given some compensation for using the protocol, but the token holders are usually not the users of the product. Those are just users of the like holders and speculators. So in terms of marketing, we need to design the product for speculators, like the token for speculators, but product for power users. And we are still experimenting with the way where our actual users can participate and make sure like the token is actually successful by integrating DAOs, developers, power users together. And then for marketing specifically, we need to focus on how the retail users, which are smaller size, let's say, I would not say a retail will come create a console and put $25,000. Not happening. I'm expecting $100 to $500 in a very, very, let's say, optimistic view, right? Now, the goal here is, what am I optimizing for? Am I optimizing for marketing? Then my focus will be these small users, right? If my focus is not marketing and actually giving like tokens to the power users, then I'll optimize for them. But it really depends on how it evolves and how the points program evolve and how that works out. Only then I'll have an idea. But if it will evolve over time, it might change next week, might come back to original like day a week after that. So it's a fluid way in terms of marketing.
You strike me as the kind of company that has that is really looking very deeply at their product and like how to make their product better for like a long-term usage, not just like a pump and dump, let's say. But at the same time, I feel like you're also looking quite deeply into like your users to see like what they want, how they want it, and so on. Because like you mentioned a couple of things when it comes to marketing and so on, which I think are quite used right now. Marketing strategies, let's say. But I feel like many times, for a lot of companies in the space, like these strategies have worked quite well. But I think a lot of the issues a lot of marketers have right now is that like the products are not great, and this has been a debate that I had at ECC with a bunch of marketers. And I feel like it's still an issue in the space. And you kind of strike me as as a company and as a founder that is really looking deeply at both sides of the spectrum, which I think is pretty amazing. So congrats on that.
Thank you. So to give you an example, right, our marketing purely sucks right now in terms of how we are able to connect with like crypto natives, right? No one, like, if you see speculators on like Twitter, they don't know about console. But if you see like deep actual users, they know about console, but they don't really like do speculative posts or do actual posts. So we need to optimize for our crypto marketing, which is essential for a long-term growth of a product as well. To give you an example, like someone like Uniswap, it's a great product. It's being used by everyone. It's like a very, very integrated DeFi like infrastructure. Do they need marketing? No. Their product speaks for itself, right? That's where we want to go instead of going to Galaxy, getting a bunch of bots. That's like pure, like I guarantee you right now, if you go on Galaxy right now and you check the top protocols, most of them, they don't have a product. Second, they're copy paste forks. I haven't seen or heard of them. So when we are running a Galaxy as well, right? Which we are, because no product is bad, but how you use the product actually determines. We are making sure that we have like very, very heavy Sybil protection in terms of we don't want bots. It's very easy to identify. So if you see like these protocols going on Twitter posting, they'll have like a million like likes, like hundreds of thousands of likes, and they're not even enough users. For us, we know that our goal is to reach like 100,000 users, active users. We'll never have a million users. There are not even million users on chain. So we are optimizing for that 100,000 users. And we think like a Uniswap like approach is better, but obviously market has matured. They had first movers advantage, they have a great product, but you'll have to have a mix of both now. So we are not undermining like players like Galaxy, but we are undermining the players which are using Galaxy right now and how they're using it. So that's our approach.
I would actually say that I think the users have matured. I don't know if the market has matured.
You can say that.
I do have a couple of questions for you right now. So one of them is like you mentioned like some sources to get users, but like what are your best avenues to source your users? Somebody asked this, and I want to like ask again this question to make sure that we covered it all. And the second question I have for you is like, are you guys starting to use any KOLs? And if yes, like what is the criteria you're going to be using?
Sure. So for us, the best way to reach out users, that was the question, was mostly one-on-one like calls and onboarding and reaching out. So it's a lot of cold calling and a lot of emails and a lot of like in-conference meetings, because those avenues is where like we get a lot of power users. Second, online trick is to
Wait, this was because you were looking for like enterprise
yes
prices to work.
yes.
Okay,
Second is
it
like,
does make sense.
yeah. Second is like we profile like wallets and reach out on DBank. Reach out because you can like message on DBank, and you'll be surprised that people actually read those DBank messages. So it's easy for us to reach out to them like using like the profile on DBank. So these are the two avenues that we use right now to onboard users. Third, I think for retail specifically, our major avenue is like chain partnerships, which I already said in the beginning. Blast, at a point we were holding around 10% TVL of Blast on console, and that's where we get the most retail users to know about us. So these are like the three avenues. Now the second question was KOLs. Now KOL is a tricky part, right? Now, we've reached out to a lot of KOLs. It's very expensive to begin with. So, a tweet can cost, depending on the type of KOL, from around $200 to $2,500. Now, if you check like how the KOLs work. Mostly the KOLs don't actually use your product. So they just make up things and we have to check their draft and see if their posting is right or wrong, right? That is one issue. And what I can say is like the most KOLs that we didn't work with were basically pump and dumps, right? They want to earn money, they want to dump on their followers and then move on. So it's kind of intricate how we partner with these KOLs because a lot of these KOLs have not the best reputation. And if we use a KOL and they use our name, how does that affect our reputation is also a question, right? So that's where we are. We are testing out KOLs because we are using that as a medium to reach out to crypto native users. But it's very, very, how do I say it, controlled by us. What message is going. We check each and every draft. We make sure that they use the product. What they're writing is true. It's not speculative, but it's more educational. That's what we are focused on.
Where do you source your KOLs from? Agencies, tools?
So our in-house team, we just message like multiple like KOLs on Twitter. That usually works like easy. They are very receptive to answer. Second, what we are trying right now is a tool called Proto KOL, which is a dashboard to manage KOLs, check their let's say analytics, and they also help us reach out to KOLs. It's more structured. The payment is more structured. So we are trying that for the first time. I guess next week we'll see how that spans out. So these are the two ways that we are using right now.
One of the other questions that I have for you is like, what tools do you guys use to identify success metrics?
So our internal tool is so TVL is like a very broken metric, right? It doesn't make sense. But
I feel like right now I'm going to ask any kind of founder, like, what's your like marketing goal or like KPI, and they're like, oh, TVL. I'm like, guys, it needs to be something more than that. Come on.
yeah, so what we internally, what our North Star is the utilization rate. So I'll give you an example. So if you create a console, we don't know who you are, right? You can be anyone. Let's say ABC console creates the ABC console. You created this console, you deposit funds. Now, what I see as a real user is someone who puts in $1,000 minimum, right? Under that, it doesn't matter to us, doesn't matter to the business. We just kind of reject that. So let's say you put $1,000. Now I'll put you as like a user, but then what I'll closely track is like the utilization rate. So by utilization rate, I mean if you take the $1,000, you put into multiple protocols through console, and let's say you put like $500 in like any DeFi protocol, and you've used that money and it's just not lying around. Because the thing about console is you can see all your positions in one place and you can click, interact, send, whatever you want to do. So if you have like $1,000 and if you are doing more than 50% in utilization rate, you are my best user right now. So 50% utilization of your console is my metric that we look at.
Why 15?
50, 50.
50. All right,
Yeah.
why 50?
So if I look at my console usage, if I look at my crypto usage, I'll define it into like two parts. One is your cold wallet that you never touch. It's offline, right? That's your life savings. You will never touch that. The other one is like your hot wallet. Now, hot wallet is something you are gambling with. You're trying new protocols. You're trying new things. So your hot wallet money is what we are targeting, right? So if your hot wallet money is not being utilized, that's either the overall market fault or it's our fault. Now, if the market is pumping, then it's our fault that the user is not utilizing their capital. So we have to make a better product. We need to show them that this is what you can do with their USD or WBTC or ETH. So either you are putting your USD into DAI savings and earning yield, that's a good use of your idle capital, or you're using ETH and staking it, restaking it in Renzo or EtherFi and taking that and putting into Pendle. That's a much better use case of your ETH. So we would want to bridge like that gap in order to go from A to B. So right now on console, if you have ETH, you can go directly to Pendle using one transaction instead of 6 transactions and paying gas fee 6 times. So that's what we bridge. So that's where our utilization rate comes in. And that's why we are more focused on more than 50% because that's our actual user.
Are you guys on Farcaster?
We are on Farcaster. Yes. We are on Farcaster.
Somebody asked me, like, they said that they would like to learn what Brahma is missing tool-wise to grow and manage your brand on Farcaster.
So we are pretty much very thin right now in terms of our resources, and we are trying to keep up. I think we are one of the only protocols who post on Twitter, Farcaster, LinkedIn as well. So we are like everywhere. But the thing is, one post is replicated across each and every platform, which is not the right way. Now, Farcaster has a totally different strategy, but the amount of users on Farcaster are very low versus Twitter. So we would rather focus on the top line users, which we can extract. So we are focused on Twitter. Farcaster, if we put all our resources in and try to learn the intricacies of Farcaster, that might not give us the same amount of users, and we don't have resources. So we are just focusing on Twitter and replicating that across LinkedIn, Farcaster. So that's our approach right now.
Fair enough. One of the most important questions that I have for you during this conversation is like, what challenges have you faced when marketing Brahma, and how did you overcome them? Like, do you have any successful stories or not so successful stories that you could share with us?
So, I mean, if we had a successful story, everyone should know
Feels like
about
you
us.
guys have experimented quite a lot.
We have experimented a lot. Our landing page has changed like more than 10 times. Our tagline has changed numerous times. Like last week, we changed our tagline. We are changing our headers. We are changing our OG tags. We are trying to take feedback from like power users on like any blog we put out. Like today, I'll be putting out a blog about console, about the universal account, our thesis. So we experiment a lot with the content that goes out. In terms of marketing, we are trying to find a sweet spot, right? We haven't been able to figure out the sweet spot. Now, that is because we haven't built in like hype cycles. So for example, if a protocol was building on restaking 6 months ago, they were very hyped up because restaking as a narrative was very hot. Now it kind of died down. So whatever kind of marketing they do, it won't work at all because restaking meta has died down. So now, what do you build for is the question. So either we keep on chasing hype cycles, like a product called Rage Trade did, right? They went from building vaults, they went on GMX hype when GMX hyped up. Then after that, they went on Hyperliquid hype. So crypto marketing is about chasing like hypes, and once you kind of start doing that, your product like actually goes down. That's not what we want to do. So we have to find a sweet spot, and that's what we are really trying. So you will see a lot of partnerships in terms of karma score allocation to like products which are going through this hype cycle. For example, let's say tomorrow XYZ narrative hypes up, there's a protocol on that narrative, we partner up with them, we funnel our rewards on top of their rewards in order to get the users on console. And that's how we are like stacking momentum. So we don't have to change our hype cycle, but we kind of cling on the underlying protocol's hype cycle. to reach there. That's what we are trying to do.
So do you have any lessons that you've learned and you feel like they were like good or bad lessons that you could share?
So, as a founder and as a team, like you're always on Twitter and you always see like things that you could have done and like momentum that you could have like caught, and you kind of feel bad every time that, oh, my product is not there. So one thing I realized, and I was very anti marketing before, and I used to blatantly not like products who were doing marketing with bad products. And I was fixated on getting the product right and people will come approach. But we kind of realized that product and marketing goes hand in hand. You kind of have to respect both. And if I have the best product ever and I have no marketing, no one's going to know about us. And similarly, if I have the best marketing and no product, you're going to fade out. So you have to have a balance between these two. And that's what we are trying to approach. And that's been the lesson for us as well. Because we neglected marketing for 2 years. We didn't do anything. Rightly so, right? We didn't know what we are building. Because it was hit and trial, hit and trial, hit and trial. But now we kind of know that, okay, marketing is a serious thing. You need to stand out on Twitter, you need to stand out in overall crypto sphere. So that's what we are optimizing for now.
For sure. What are some trends in the DeFi space you foresee and you think you're going to be getting into as well?
So I think like the trends for us, what I'm excited about is account-centric future, where, as I was like telling you about, like let's like our vault approach, right, where a user can come and deposit. That's a very anarchic way to interact with protocols and DeFi. What we see is like right now the account, like the interaction on crypto is very dumb with EOAs, with MetaMask, with let's say NPCs as well. You don't have a smarter way or a foolproof way to interact with crypto. Now we'll see a lot of DeFi activity happening on top of account centric like user interaction. By that I mean we'll see a lot of users moving and upgrading from EOA to smart accounts like console, and we will build like novel products on top of console. So to give you an example, with our API and stack launch, we build like a quick app where if you have a EOA and you're on multiple networks right now, and if your gas goes down and you have zero gas, our automation will always track all your like all the networks associated with your MetaMask, and if you're out of gas, we'll automatically send it. So these kinds of automations were not possible before. Right now you can spin up a console, you can spin up an automation and say this is my MetaMask, and if my gas fee is low on all these networks, just refuel it with 0.05 ETH. And you never have to add gas fee because it's always going from your console and everything is in your custody. You never have to trust us or anyone because we cannot rug you, right? So this is the future that we're looking at, where everything is in Alex's control, her account. I cannot take money out because it's secured by the policy that has been enforced by console. And you have like seamless interaction, and whatever you can think of, you can build in few days. So that's what we're targeting. So unlike vaults, if you're a developer, you can come, you can spin up a vault, let's say any kind of interaction you can think of, and the flow will look like, let's say I created like this refuel app and I like post it on my Twitter. Now if you have a console, you can click and you can say subscribe to this, and you'll give permission. So you'll give permission to this app to take, let's say 0.05 ETH maximum from your console, no more than that, and it can only send money to your EOA, nothing else. That's like the permission that you're giving. So it becomes a permission based app, which no one has ever seen in DeFi. And that's what we are excited about. That's what we're creating. So it'll be more like giving permission to Google when you log in. Similarly, you're giving permission to a app developer to take your assets to your desired location, all under your control. And that's what we are excited about.
One of the last questions that I have for the majority of my speakers is like, if you can give me an example of a tool you would recommend using in Web3, or like something that you tried out and you think is good, or any newsletter, any book, any kind of resource that you think the audience would be excited to get into.
So, tool which I use daily is of course console, but I'm not going to shill that right now. But mostly, like most of the users don't actually use tools to revoke their permissions, right? And that's very important for most of the users, because you have hacks happening every day. Like 3 weeks ago, there was Li-Fi protocol hack where people who gave unlimited approval to Li-Fi got drained. And of course, Li-Fi is being a major player, they were able to recover, but it doesn't happen with most of the protocols. So what I would recommend like your listeners to use is like revoke.cash to ultimately check the permissions that they have given to other dApps and the asset. So it's easier for them to, let's say, making sure that they don't get wrecked. And in terms of reading, there's so much to read on Twitter that I keep on using Twitter and bookmark app. I like bookmarking that and nothing else. And that's enough, I guess. Nothing else, and we don't get more time to read books. So that's what I'll recommend.
It's actually like, I think like the majority of times I ask about like marketing tools, but I think this is like the tool that you just mentioned is a super important tool for like anybody in Web3, so not just marketers. So thank you for that. The last question that I have for you, Kaku, is like, where can people find you?
Oh, so you can find me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active at. My Twitter is, should I just say it, or you'll link it up?
Yeah, say it. I will put it in the description of the episode as well, so people can reach out directly as well.
Sure. So you can find Kakusan. You like search for that on Twitter, but my handle is different. It's JAINARGH. Hard. That's why you can just type Kakusan and Brahma and you'll find me. And on Telegram, I'm like reachable. So you can like, if you're building something or you're trying to build anything, like even marketing, right? You can build like a tool for console users. And if you're doing marketing, if you want to do, I don't know, let's take an example. If a protocol wants to create a page where you link your Twitter and send like arbitrary tokens, you can build that on console. If you do certain tasks and if a user is able to do those tasks, you can create an automation and send like USDT or native tokens all through console. And you don't have to build any infrastructure. You can build mass payout systems using console. So if you're building some kind of like tools that you can think of for marketing, you can build it on console, and you can reach out to me on Telegram. That is KAKUSAAN is my Telegram ID handle.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the time. We have spent an entire hour talking about pretty amazing stuff that you guys are building at Brahma. Thank you so much for your time. And I am looking forward to speaking to you soon to see like how your campaigns are running and all the amazing things that you're doing with like Accelerate on Chain and your token launch and your KOL usage and so on, and your referral program. So I'll thanks again for the time, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, Alex. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Bye, Kaku.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to our Out of Ordinary podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to hear more content like this, then open up the podcast app and click on the follow or subscribe button. It takes less than 5 seconds and is the single best thing you can do to support the show and stay up to date to more marketing strategies that are being used in the Web3 space.